Welcome to the Actor's Choice, where the actors and actresses have a chance to talk about themselves and their careers. Join us now for the next hour as we explore the marvelous industry of acting by actors and actresses from today's exciting show business world. And now, direct from Hollywood, here's your host, Ron Brewington.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Brewington, and welcome to The Actor's Choice. Brought to you by Photography is an Art, Harvey Brandman, Master Photographer, located at 1307 North San Fernando Boulevard, Burbank, California. Attorney Ron Irwin's book, Haiku, Style, Passion, Heart. Author Larry Buford's book to the future, Time Travel, Message in a Capsule. State Farm agent Carla Green, and veteran actor Rob Brownstein's Acting Training School and Actors Show. Ladies and gentlemen, if you know Star Trek, and I hope you do, then you would know about a Ferengi. My first guest today is a veteran actor who was the first actor ever to play a Ferengi on Star Trek The Next Generation, and also the other one. Born in Lakewood, New Jersey, he was born in 1987. No, excuse me. Born in New Jersey. He has acquired 199, I got these words messed up here, 199 film and TV actor credits from IMDb. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Armin Shimerman. Thank you so much. Glad to have you here today. My goodness, 199 film and TV.
I have been very lucky in my career.
Wow. There's some I'm sure that you didn't even get on here.
I don't know.
Yeah. I know I hear a lot of actors say, well, they didn't get me, or I didn't get them, or the case may be. But that's beautiful. That's a lot of work.
Thank you.
That's a lot of auditions that you had to do.
It is a lot of auditions. Some of the work was just offered to me, but a lot of it was auditioned for, and I'm very grateful. In those instances, I was competing with some wonderful actors, and I was lucky enough to get the job.
Okay. What made you get into this profession?
Girls.
Okay.
There was a girl in my high school who I was rather attracted to, and she walked into an audition for a play, and I thought, oh, I'll do that too. So I walked in, and I don't think she got cast, but I did, and the rest is history.
Wow, girls.
Girls.
I have to use that one myself one day. Okay. Let's get right to it. Your first actor credit came in 1979 when you played the role of a gentleman named Major Logan.
Right. I want to just correct that. That was my first camera role in
Okay.
1979.
Okay.
I did a lot of theater prior to that, and in 1976 was my first Broadway show, which was a long-running show called Three Penny Opera with Raul Julia.
Okay. The name of the movie was called Women at West Point.
Yes.
Interesting movie.
I've never seen it, so I can't tell you whether it was an
You've
interesting
never
movie.
seen it?
No, I've never seen it.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, and I think Linda Pearl was the lead in it. They took me up to West Point to shoot the movie. I do remember that I had a complicated speech, which they threw out the day of shooting, and they gave me another long, complicated speech to take its place, and I had 5 minutes to memorize it. I couldn't memorize it, so luckily I was a teacher, and we put the speech on a blackboard out of the frame, but I was able to remember what I could remember, but then every now and then glance at the blackboard to know what my lines were.
A true professional knows how to do it.
A scared professional.
You moved from there getting a job everywhere since 1979. I did a little research on you and found your best year was 2012. I mean, you did 14 plays that year.
14 TV shows or 14 plays?
TV shows.
TV shows.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess my agent was very happy that year.
Yeah. I mean, how did you do that? Like I said, that's a lot of auditions.
I have a very understanding wife who allows me to be out of the house a great deal of the time.
Okay. All right. 1987, you did Beauty and the Beast. I bet you liked that role, didn't you?
I did, because it was my introduction to a recurring role. It was my first recurring role on TV. I worked with some phenomenal actors, most importantly Ron Perlman, who played the Beast, who taught me a great deal about acting on camera. I had come from the theater where everything's a little bit larger than naturalism, and Ron, who was encased in a great deal of makeup, showed me how to perform smaller on camera, and so that when he began to talk like this, and all the theater actors said, Ron, we can't hear our cues. But when we saw the final result on camera, we went, oh, that's how you act on camera. You talk like this.
You mean the volume goes down?
The volume goes down, and because the volume goes down, the performance goes down. And because the performance goes down, you can actually hear yourself think inside your performance. You can actually feel yourself going from thought to thought, and more in tune with what you're saying and who your character is.
Got you. Now, sometimes you've done some dual jobs while you're doing one job
Yes,
and doing
I
another
did
job.
Star Trek and Buffy at the same time.
Okay. And it was that year that you made history. As an actor, you became the first Ferengi. What was that like?
For Next Generation?
Yes.
It was a celebration.
Mm-hmm.
I had been a huge Star Trek fan prior to being on Next Generation, the idea that a Star Trek fan was going to be on a Star Trek show was enormously exciting. And in fact, I had a conflict with Beauty and the Beast. It turned out that my first performance on Next Generation was in conflict with the same day of work on Beauty and the Beast, where I was a recurring character. And my agent called and said, well, you have to turn down the Star Trek in order to do the Beauty and the Beast, because after all, that is your paycheck. And my agent and I had a difference of opinion. And eventually I got my way, which was I was going to do the Star Trek because I was a huge fan. And because I did that first Ferengi, it ended up leading to Quark.
Wow. Speaking of Ferengis, I just wish we had some video or photos, but unfortunately,
Because of copyrights and intellectual property rights, it's hard to come by those without the permission of Paramount.
Yes. I looked everywhere I could, and I saw do not use, can't use, will not use. I said, okay, next. But in that role, how did you stay cool? I mean, and first of all, how long did it take you to put everything on?
Well, it took 2 hours to put on the makeup after my makeup artist, Karen Westerfield, got the hang of it. In the first couple of episodes, we were closer to 3 or 4 hours for putting on the makeup. Mm-hmm. But after a period of months, we got it down to 2 hours. It stayed at 2 hours, except for the one exception when I actually did a cameo performance on one of the Star Trek films, which I was cut out of the film. But Karen, being a phenomenally talented makeup lady, mm-hmm. and a perfectionist, that took 4 hours.
4 hours?
4 hours, yeah.
To put on. How long to take off?
That's really the important question.
Yes.
Because everyone always asks how long did it put on, but they rarely ask how long did it take off. And it took me it took Karen 50 minutes to remove the makeup, which meant at the end of a 16-hour day, after being in makeup for 16 hours, which was usually my day as a Ferengi, I had to wait another 50 minutes to an hour in order to remove the makeup. Everybody said goodnight, everybody said we'll see you tomorrow, but I was still in the chair for another 50 minutes.
You played that role for how many years?
I played Quark for 7 years.
Yes.
As you mentioned, I played Ferengi prior to that. I also I was in the first episode of the next Star Trek show, which was Star Trek Voyager, mm-hmm. and I was the crossover character, which was an honor to be given that position.
Okay. So one day you were out here on set, being a Ferengi, and an earthquake struck.
Yeah, that happened 4:30 in the morning. It was a huge earthquake here in Los Angeles, mm-hmm. and my contract required me to stay on the set in makeup. I could not leave the set mm-hmm. in makeup. But when I finally got in touch with my wife, this was a time slightly before cell phones, I found out that the house had some destruction and that she was in a little bit of a panic, and the dogs were certainly in a panic. And so I told the second AD that I was leaving, but I was still in makeup. And he said, well, you can't leave, you're in makeup. And I said, stop me. And I got in my car and realized that, at least from my memory of past earthquakes, that the freeway sometimes had slipped, and I wasn't quite certain of how large an earthquake it was, mm-hmm. because the earthquake had occurred while I was in a makeup trailer, and it had shocks and wheels, and so although we were bumped around, we didn't know really the extent of the damage. But I wanted to stay away from freeways. So I took the local streets back to my home. At that point in Los Angeles, all the traffic lights were out. So the people of Los Angeles were enormously courteous and were always letting the person on the right, if they needed to make a left turn, people on the right would go through the intersection first. I needed to make a left turn, and I had my blinker on, and the gentleman who had the right of way, he was opposite me, and he was in a 4x4, and I remember seeing his face. I'll never forget it. I remember I'm in huge prosthetic makeup. I have ears out to here, a brow, orange, teeth, no teeth. The teeth were gone. But I remember him catching me in his headlights, and this is what I saw.
He couldn't believe it.
He just waved me through. And for the next couple of days, I sort of peeked at the tabloids to see if anyone had reported an alien invasion in Los Angeles.
Wow. Wow. Beautiful story. Let's go to another side of you. It's called theater.
Yes, let's talk about theater.
Yeah. That's a play out there right now called Measure for Measure. Can you give us a little about the plot?
Sure. Measure for Measure is a production that we're doing at Anteus, which is the theater that I am a part of. I am the director, co-director.
Mm-hmm.
My co-director is Elizabeth Swain.
Mm-hmm.
And we are directing a production of Measure for Measure, an enormously pertinent and current play for these times. It has very much to do with the Me Too movement. It has to do with responsibility of government and what happens when a governor or a ruler or a president is not capable of ruling, not capable of doing his job, and assigns it to someone who is equally as incompetent. It's a very current theme. The people at Anteus are made up of our company's about 160 members. All of us have classical background. All of us are well trained in communicating difficult language to the masses. Just a sidebar, one of the things about Star Trek actors, almost all of us are classically trained. All of us know how to deal with language. But going back to Anteus, I hope that people will come to our production. We open on February the 21st. We play, I believe, until April the 6th. Mm-hmm. Is that correct? And it's a pertinent play. And for those people who say, oh, Shakespeare, I don't understand it, it's too difficult to wade through, I will make you a challenge. Come to our show. I guarantee you that you will understand 96% of the play. Our actors have done such an incredible job of making this clear, and you will find it a pertinent play. Also, one of the things that Anteus likes to do is to be current, up-to-date on diversity. So we have many people of different colors in our production. We have done what Shakespeare would do. Shakespeare often, always, cast men in women's roles. We have done that to some extent, but we have also cast women in men's roles. Mm-hmm. We have taken I would believe, I'm making a guess here, an 18-character play, and we've subdivided those roles into amongst 9 actors. Mm-hmm. And to watch our actors play the different aspects of humanity, going from one role to another, is really a phenomenon to watch.
Is this the reason why they called it one of Shakespeare's problem plays?
It's called a problem play because it's neither comic nor tragic.
Okay.
And what this play, like Troilus and Cressida or Merchant of Venice, deals with is very esoteric issues and puts it in language that is glorious to listen to. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's a problem play.
Okay. Now the theater itself, Tony, can you put that picture up for the theater? It's out in Glendale.
It is out in Glendale. We're right across the street from the Americana Mall. It's nice to know that we are on Broadway, mm-hmm. Which is a side street just off of Brand, so we're at Broadway and Brand. Tickets go on sale very soon. Our website is www.anteus, anteus.org, anteus.org. And I think we play Thursdays through Sundays, although I'm not quite sure. I should know this, and I don't.
I like the way you pronounce that theater name. How did it come like that?
Anteus, thank you for asking. Anteus has been in existence for a little over 30 years. We started at the Mark Taper Forum, and our founders challenged the Mark Taper Forum to look at classical plays and to look at an ensemble. Anteus is a mythological creature who was a titan in Greek mythology, and he's most famous for having a fight with Hercules. Hercules could not defeat Anteus as a wrestler. They had a wrestling match until he realized that this titan could only be defeated if he got his feet off the ground. So why are we named Anteus? Because most of us, like myself, have worked in TV and film, in other media, but we need to be grounded, and we are grounded by being in the theater. And it makes our TV and film work better, but it also gladdens our hearts because theater was always our first love.
I hear you. I hear you. Besides doing theater, television, film, you also are a professor at the University of Southern California.
I am. I'm an adjunct professor. I've been there for several years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not there this year because of work that took me away from being available when the semester started. I was just recently doing Shakespeare in Utah at the Utah Shakespeare Festival.
Mm-hmm.
But I teach Shakespeare to sophomores, to the BFAs, to the actors in the School of Theater, and they teach me a great deal.
We got a lot of young people going to school these days. They want to be an actor. How do you feel about them? You think they're ready for this? Is this the field they should get into?
I think that school is a great way to teach you what to do when the door opens. If they'll teach you how to open the door, how to get the auditions, how to get the work, how to be seen, great, then you should go to school. But if you don't have the training, and you don't have the knowledge, and you don't have the background of life, school can be just treading water until you get out of school.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my students, and I taught them as sophomores, and some of them are now juniors and seniors, they are eager to get out and test the waters. But school is important, very important, but so is the actual work. The actual being in the workplace will teach you as much as school will.
I have a bone to pick with a lot of actors. Some of them do not want to get up on that stage. What's your thought?
They're entitled to their thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
The great thing about working in the theater is you craft a performance. You spend anywhere from a month to 6 weeks, maybe longer, crafting, sculpting the performance. Every line, everything is nuanced. It will be different from night to night, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but there will be a pathway, a framework from which you can be proud of what you've sculpted. Working in TV and film is a catch-as-catch-can situation. You bring what you did at the audition, you bring your own personality to the work, but you only get about 15 to 20 minutes at the most to sculpt a performance before they turn the cameras on. Working in the theater is a much more richer, creative experience. Furthermore, you get the feedback of a live audience, and you know immediately if what you've done is successful. You never know when you work on camera whether it's successful or not because everybody on the set is required to be absolutely quiet. So you don't know.
I had an actor come on the show here, and I said, well, the cost of tickets. We were talking about Hamilton, for an example. And people said, well, that's too expensive. I don't want to go see that. But like you say, following your words, look at what you're getting. You got to pay for lights, for this, for that, all these different things.
Right. Theater has gotten very, very expensive, which is why we should celebrate the Los Angeles theater scene, where the tickets are at the most, I would imagine, $30. And you can see phenomenal theater in Los Angeles. In fact, I would say that our production of Measure for Measure, or most of the productions at our theater, Anteus, are comparable to anything that I've seen in New York City. And there are wonderful theaters around the country that do phenomenal work. You don't have to go to New York. You don't have to go to London to see great theater. You can see it right here in town. You just have to keep your ears open, watch shows like yours, Ron, to find out who's doing good work and take the time. Usually a theater is right around in your neighborhood. You just have to drive 10, 15 minutes, maybe half an hour. And you can see first-class, world-class theater right here in Los Angeles.
Wow. I have a tendency, and one of the roles that you had over the years was when you did Boston Legal.
Boston Legal, yes.
And I got a name associated with Boston Legal. I consider this gentleman one of the top TV directors, writers in the business. I'm talking about David E. Kelley.
Yeah. David Kelley, God bless him, has been very kind to me over the years. I've worked for him in Boston Legal. I've worked with him, for him, in Ally McBeal, in, what was the other one? What came after Ally McBeal? Anyway, there was another one. Yes. And he, and forgive me, David, for not remembering the show. He also wanted me on Boston Public, but that didn't work out. And there's a lovely story, if I may tell you, about David Kelley and me and Boston Legal, if we have the time, very quickly.
Please.
I had auditioned for a judge on Boston Legal. Not the judge, well, yes, the judge I played, but that was supposed to be a one-shot deal. And while I was shooting that episode of that one-shot deal judge, David Kelley went into his writer's room and said, I'm not firing anybody. I just want to write a series of episodes about a particular case. And he said, I want to write those episodes, and I need to cast the people for this arc of shows that he wanted to do. And he decided that it was about a judge who was murdered. And that judge was married to another judge. And he decided that other judge, the living judge, was going to be a short actor. He brought in a whole bunch of short actors to audition for that role. And perhaps he wasn't happy with any of them. I don't know the specifics of it. All I know is that on the next day, after he'd seen all the short actors auditioning for the role, he went to Daly's, and he saw me playing this judge in his show, Boston Legal. And because he had used me many times before, he said, Armin can play that part. And so my one-shot deal became an arc of 7 episodes, and it was one of the best things I ever did on TV.
Wow. I wish we had more time to sit and talk with you.
Thank you, Ron.
You ever write a book about some of the things that's happening?
As it turns out, I've just sold a book. I've sold a novel. I am a novelist as well, and I've just sold a book about Shakespeare and the Elizabethan era. It's a murder mystery. It will be on the shelves at Christmas, and it's called Prospero's Intelligence.
Well, here's your first $1 for that.
Oh,
for that
look
book.
at that!
Good luck.
My first $1. Thank you.
Armin, thank you very, very much.
My pleasure.
Come back again, please.
It's up to you, sir.
Ooh, you got some stuff there. Also want to thank Lucy Pollock, your publicist. She always brings the best in this house.
Well, if she brings Anteus people, we are the best.
Take care.
Thank you.
This is The Actor's Choice. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. The studio of Harvey Brandman Photography as an Art is proud to offer you a $100 discount off any photo package valued at $300 or more. Now, Harvey has been in the business for nearly a quarter of a century, and he certainly knows how to take care of his customers. So please give him a call today at 818-954-9294. That's 818-954-9294. You'll be glad you did. And by the way, please tell Harvey that you heard about his offer right here on The Actor's Choice. Haikus, style, passion, heart in the latest release from actor and attorney Ron Irwin. The book was inspired by the author's first exposure to haiku well over a half-century ago. This experience produced within him a deep passion to experience Asia, which he later did as a U.S. Marine. The book is available in paperback at lulu.com. That's lulu.com. And Irwin says he'll give 20% of net book sales split evenly between the veterans of foreign wars and Vietnam veterans of America. Book to the future. Time Travel, Message in a Capsule. It's a book by author Larry Buford. It's a historical and faith-based account of how what we do and follow today will affect us tomorrow. The author also calls it an adventure for those who want to travel back through time. The book is now available in paperback for only $17.95 from Amazon, so please get your copy today. And now, a word from State Farm agent Carla Green.
Let me ask you something. What do you see when you look at your home and your car? Do you see a bundle? A combo deal? That's how other insurance companies see them, but a State Farm agent sees so much more. Because the State Farm agent sees your home and your car as more than just four walls and four wheels. They see the things you've worked really hard for. So why not give them the protection they deserve? Let me help you with that. Give me a call. State Farm agent Carla Green, 213-239-9675. I look forward to speaking with you.
Three 239-9675. That's 213-239-9679. Please welcome a new sponsor from it's called Actor Space, with classes and private coaching by veteran actor Rob Brownstein. It's called an Actor Space. Has Thursday night classes for working actors and Tuesday night foundation and technique classes for early career actors. Now, the idea here is to build on each actor's strengths and who you are to help refine and reimagine your acting and your career. For more information, please call class at robbrownstein.com. That's class at robbrownstein.com. Or just give them a call at 323-646-1268. That's 323-646-1268. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ebony Repertory Theater, in conjunction with the International City Theater, proudly presents for your enjoyment Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill. The play stars the magnificent sound of singer Carol Freeman as she performs Billie Holiday's music February 6th through March the 1st. Lady Day at Emerson's Bar and Grill is not to be missed. For more information, please call the ERT at 323-964-9766. That's 323-964-9766. Thank you. And finally, if you have a product or a service upcoming event and you'd like to see advertised on this program, please send an advertisement. Please call us at 323-533-1036. That's 323-533-1036. Our prices are very affordable. This is The Actor's Choice. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. My next guest is an author, playwright, actress, and award-winning writer for film and television. She's the author of a best-selling personal finance book called How to Live Life Like a Millionaire When You're a Million Short. Sure sounds like a lot to hear she's got to say. So, without any further ado, please welcome Marilyn Anderson. Marilyn, thank you so much for coming here today. Appreciate
so nice
it.
to be here.
I like that title.
Thank you.
Wow. You've been writing for a while, huh?
I have been. I've written for TV, for film, for theater, and several books. So I'm out there in the world writing.
In the world, yes. You know, you and I in the blue room, we were talking about, the green room. We went to the yellow room. We were talking about the features that writers have to have, that we admire them for. And I asked you a question. What's the difference between a writer and a journalist?
I think a journalist deals with true stories, not to say that a writer can't, but a journalist and supposedly gives us real facts, although these days we don't know about that. But a writer can write historically, they can write from true stories, they can make things up. There's all different things that you can do as a writer depending on your interests and your genre.
Interesting, okay. They always say good reading equals good writing. You believe that?
Well, I do to a certain extent. I wish I had time to read more novels, but as a writer, I'm always busy writing. I do read a lot of scripts because I write a lot of scripts, and so I've been a judge of some very prestigious screenwriting competitions over the years. But I've been a professional writer in the Writers Guild for a long time, since 1982.
Wow. That's a long time.
Yeah. I was just a child when I started.
One of the things, we all write, and sometimes you forget something upstairs. How do you get over that?
Well, I don't know. I'm lucky. I don't have writer's block very often, but what I like to do, and depending on what it is, I sometimes write with a partner. And I've written things alone, and I've written things with partners. And the nice thing when you write with a partner, you always have that other person to get you started and to laugh with if you're writing a comedy.
Yes.
And particularly, like if you're writing alone, you can like go have lunch by yourself or mop the floor or do something else. But when you're writing with a partner, theoretically, you're there to work, so
Yes.
you do.
Yes. I know myself, I always ask a writer, where do you get ideas from for your projects?
I get all the ideas everywhere. Sometimes they literally just pop into my head. And sometimes I might see an article, or I might hear somebody talk, or I might just get an idea. So they can come from anywhere, really. And again, writers have different genres that they work in, and they have different things that they're interested in.
Yes.
And I've written so many different kinds of shows. Like now, mostly I write comedy, but I tell people I can also kill 6 people an hour. Unfortunately, not the people of my choice. But I wrote 3
Better than
episodes.
standing up on Fifth Avenue.
I wrote 3 episodes of Friday
Yes.
the 13th, the series.
Mhm.
And it was very different from everything else I've done, but I really loved it.
Yes.
And I've also written a lot of comedies. I wrote Murphy Brown, I wrote Fame. I wrote on a comedy show with Carol Burnett, Jeremy Piven, and Richard Kind. So I just get the ideas. And like I said, sometimes I'll be at lunch and something will pop into my head. So
Right.
you never know.
You belong to a group of writers, don't you?
I belong to several groups.
Yes.
That I belong to the Independent Writers of Southern California, which is called IWASC, and I've been a panelist there speaking to them, and they have all different kinds of people that speak on different kinds of writing, and they have agents, they have marketing, and that's very important about writing. It's not just, especially these days, it's not just about being able to write something and complete it. It's really important that you are able to market it. You have to be able to, if it's a script, you want to be able to call agents or managers or producers and tell them you have the work. If it's a book, writing the book is the easy part. The publicity and promotion, that's a never-ending job, 24/7, and it never stops. I think it's kind of an addiction, you know. On the first book that I wrote, my publisher told me they were going to do publicity. They did nothing. So I started doing publicity, and within 3 months, I was on 350 radio and TV shows, and I was the flirting and kissing coach on Extreme Makeover.
Excellent. Excellent. Because we live in a computer world, and people say, well, why should I read a book? I got a computer. You know, what do you say? Do you see the computer as the enemy?
Well, no, the computer these days and social media is a good way to get information about your books or your projects out, whether it be a book or a movie or whatever. And I think they have to read my book because it gives them all kinds of useful information, too.
We're going to talk about that book in just a moment, Marilyn. What advice would you give to people who want to be a writer?
The advice is write, every day. Get up, and if you have a regular job and you can't do it then, get up early or stay up late and just write. And if you have ideas, don't be afraid. Your first draft doesn't have to be perfect. Right. So just get it down there, and you don't have to do it all at once. Do a little bit at a time so it doesn't seem like such a huge project.
Yes. Your previous guest is a professor over at USC. What education experience do you have?
Well, actually, I have a very unusual education for what I'm doing now because I have a couple of degrees in biology and physiology.
Whoa.
And, I went to grad school at BU, and then I worked for a short time as a biomedical information specialist at the National Academy of Sciences in Washington, D.C. And then one day I said, I don't want to do this. I want to be a star. So
be careful now.
I quit my job
careful.
and sold my car and sold my furniture and sold my boyfriend. Didn't get much for him.
Yes.
And then I moved to New York to become a star.
Yes.
And I got into a Broadway show a week after I got there, and I sang and I danced and I acted. And then I did stand-up for a while. I used to go on back-to-back with another guy you never heard of, Jerry Seinfeld.
Never heard of him.
At the comic strip. And then I started writing, and I knew I either had to take a vacation or get a job. Let's see, vacation or job. So I took a vacation, and I went out to L.A., and I never went back. And it was out here that I started writing scripts.
Wow. Marilyn, you something else I see. In 2008, you did a TV movie called Making Mr. Right.
Right. That was with Dean Cain and Christina Cox, and it was on Lifetime. And I also wrote for some of the TV shows that I mentioned.
Gotcha.
And then my newer movie is called How to Beat a Bully. And this was a screenplay of mine that was optioned 8 times by Hollywood and never made. And finally I said, no more options, I'm done. So I went out and I raised the money, and I made the movie. I produced it,
Right.
and it's on iTunes and Amazon and on all the other platforms. And we sold 50,000 units of the DVD to Walmart, and we've even paid back our investors.
Wow.
And I'm very proud of it. It's called How to Beat a Bully, and it's a Home Alone kind of comedy, but with an anti-bullying theme.
Let's take a look at about Bully.
I'm only 12 and my life is over.
Corey, but you know why we're moving.
Dad lost his job.
I've got a new job.
Welcome to Better Life Insurance. This is just our temporary quarters. We call it Neo Butcher.
It'll be an adventure.
I'm living in a house full of bugs. Spiders! We have spiders.
I bought 10 pest motels, 4 bug bombs, 3 tarantula traps. See?
And I'm getting
Didn't I just see you walk through that scene?
You probably did. I played a little bitty part in it.
Yes, indeed. Was that fun for being an actor for the first time?
Well, I wasn't an actor for the first time. I started really as an actress, and then I moved into writing. And I think I'm a better actress since I've been writing. But like when I do write scripts, be they plays or movies, people say, "Well, don't you want to be in your own?" And I said, "No, I want a better actor than I am."
Okay.
But it is fun, and I'm doing a one-woman show now too that's based on my newest book.
I enjoy some of the things that writers do. Like, for example, they'll say, in my past, I used to go on junkets. And you would have the writer there talking at the junket. And they would say, I was on the set for the entire time, making changes here, making changes there. Again, I didn't want to hand the baby over to the director and walk away. Explain that to our
Well,
listeners.
sometimes if you're lucky and you've written the script and they respect you, they'll let you on the set. I've heard of many sets where the writer doesn't get to go to the set. So, unfortunately, the writer is sometimes the low person on the totem pole. But obviously, I produced this, so I was on the set all the time. But, it's useful because if things aren't working or they need a little tweak, or if it's a comedy, they need an extra joke, if you're on set, then you get to have input and to make it the best it can be.
As Good as Gold. What does that mean?
As Good as Gold is a new play of mine. We're hoping to get it mounted at a good theater this year. And it's actually about 3 women writers who can't get arrested because they have a meaningful script and no one wants scripts from women. And so they end up writing an action-packed film over the weekend called Kill Me Until I Die, and they play the part of the heroine to the action hero, and then they send the script out and they try to get it done, but they can't put a woman's name on it because people don't like women writers, so they put a guy's writer on it, a man's name, and he becomes the hottest writer in Hollywood, although he doesn't exist, so they have to find a young writer to play the part, and As Good as Gold hopefully is going to come up at a theater near you soon.
Like you said, a writer gets ideas from all places.
Yes.
Are you going to be opening up here in L.A.?
We hope so. Yeah, I have several theaters right now that are interested in the
Please
production.
let me know what that is. I can pass the word on to
Yeah.
people. Yes, definitely. You got involved with another movie called Never Kiss a Frog.
Well, Never Kiss a Frog was actually my first book. It was
Okay.
called Never Kiss a Frog, A Girl's Guide to Creatures from the Dating Swamp. And it's published in 10 different countries. And I also did a web series based on it. And I also have a new movie treatment, and we're developing it as a film now.
Kissing a frog has always been a fairy thing. It's been around for a long time. What does it actually mean? I mean, and you talk about swamp. What does that mean?
Well, the old saying was you have to kiss a lot of frogs before you find a prince, or kiss a frog and it'll turn into the prince. But I'm telling women, frogs don't turn into princes, and you shouldn't kiss any frogs because they won't turn into princes, although sometimes princes turn into frogs. Just ask any woman who's divorced. So, yeah, so it was based on that because I think it's so funny because I have an email that's Never Kiss a Frog.
Right.
And so whether I'm talking to somebody in India or Africa or whatever, whenever I mention the name Never Kiss a Frog, no matter where the person is from, they all say, oh, that's funny, because it's a universal thing. Everybody knows about kissing frogs, or in this case, never kiss a frog.
Can you roll that one, Tony?
Are you dating a frog? Think a kiss from you is going to magically turn him into a prince? Forget about it. If you're dating a frog, get rid of him and throw him back in the swamp. Hi.
My. These days, okay, I've been married 3 times. How many times you been married?
In round numbers?
In round-
None. Well, I haven't been married, but I've been in several long-term
Yes.
relationships. If I had been married, they would have been short-term relationships.
Relationships are hard to make.
Yeah,
It's hard to find women.
It is.
And vice versa, and vice versa.
So it sounds like you found a few and then threw them away.
Well, I won't say that, but think we had problems. Okay. I teach over at Santa Monica College, and one of the things we talk about is communications. And we found from research that the 3 top reasons why relationships break up: number 3, money; number 2, sex. The biggest 3-letter in the world today.
Yes.
And last but not least, no communication, lack of it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and in Never Kiss a Frog, I talk about all the different frogs. So there's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Toad. There's Count Frogula.
Yes.
And each of them has wart warnings and ribbit snippets. So
Yes.
Count Frogula he has a cape and fangs, and it's any guy who drains the life out of you sucks. So that's Count Frogula. And in the clip you showed, it was talking about the God Frogger.
Yes.
If he's a wise guy, be a wise girl. Forget about it.
I hear a New York accent there, East Coast accent. But you pick up the paper. There's Weinstein and other Weinsteins, the DOMs as we call them, the dirty old men. What does a woman do? Casting couch, all these things. You hear these things now. What do you do?
Well, you have to be true to yourself. And unfortunately, the casting couch has been around for a long time. But I think the Harvey Weinstein situation took it further, because that wasn't just the casting couch. That was an abusive predator. And although in my play, As Good as Gold, which is a comedy, we call him Marvy Slimestein instead of Harvey Weinstein. But you just got to be true to yourself and say no when it's appropriate to, and get out of there if you're in that situation.
Because we read that he used to tell ladies that, hey, allegedly, that you want to be in this business, you got to go with me. Got to follow me.
Well,
Do what I tell you to do.
It's like, fortunately, I was never in that situation with him or with anyone else who was so abusive.
Yes.
But it's been around a long time, and hopefully with the Me Too situation. And that's why I think my play As Good as Gold is so important now, because it deals with not Me Too and Time's Up also.
Got you. Now, you go to conventions. How do you sell the book? How can I get the book?
Oh, this book?
Yes.
How to Live Like a Millionaire When You're a Million Short. It's available on Amazon in both paperback and ebook. And I also do events, and whenever I do personal events, I sell the paperback, and you get it autographed for you or for your loved ones.
Yes.
And it's great for actors, especially because, the thing is, as an actor or a writer, sometimes you'll work, and then a lot of times you won't work at all, like for weeks or months or even years. But this book tells you literally how to do all these fabulous things and buy wonderful things for very little money.
Give an example, please.
Oh, an example is, as an actor, you probably, like me, love live theater. Well, I love live theater. Well, I go to theater almost 3 times a week, but it's free because of the secret that I tell you in my book. So I tell you how to go to live theater, how to go to gala events for free. I tell you how to spend 6 nights at a 4-star resort in Spain for free. And a friend of mine, actually, with one little paragraph in my book, I told him to follow this, and he fought me. He ended up getting a check for $12,000. And that, I'll tell you a thing, I want everybody, after you watch this, to go out and go to missingmoney.com.
Okay.
And it's missingmoney.com, or go to the the state that you live in to their website and look for unclaimed money. And people don't realize there's millions of dollars just waiting to be claimed. It doesn't cost you anything to do it. So I give all kinds of secrets and tips like that.
We need secrets because here in Southern California, it is expensive to live here.
For sure.
For sure. It is very expensive, you know.
It is, but you can live like a millionaire when you're a million short, whether you're here or elsewhere.
Okay. Marilyn, are you planning on making another book? Another volume 2?
Yeah, there will be another edition because new things are coming up all the time. So probably at the end of this year, I may come out with a second edition with all kinds of new tips. But this has tips for entertainment, shopping, travel, health, beauty, home decor, all kinds of things.
Actors.
And how to make money.
Yes.
And actors need it because we know that sometimes they work and sometimes they don't.
Yes, they don't, right.
But they always want to go out and have fun.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. That's what it should happen. What does it take for people, men and women, to get along better with each other? I had to put that question in there.
Well, I'm a firm believer in when you look at people's differences instead of having them separate you, embrace them. We all have all kinds of differences, and they're wonderful because when you go for ice cream, they have 28 flavors, right? And you want to try them all. So you should embrace your neighbor, embrace the differences, and be open to the possibilities of new things and new people.
Right. It's not only the way you see it; we can compromise.
In both my books and in my movies and everything, I try to incorporate different people and different points of view. Yes. And you have to get all their peccadillos or all their different idiosyncrasies because we all have them. And that's what makes a character interesting, whether you're a writer or an actor. Right. You want to bring in these things that make you real.
Wow. Will you think that will ever end?
Now, which thing are you talking
I'm talking
about
the difference between men and women.
Oh, men and women. No, well, but we have to enjoy those differences too,
yes,
but accept them in other people and try to see things from the other person's point of view as well.
Excellent. Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, I like to tell people about my books and tell them all the wonderful things that you can do. It tells you ways to make money too. There's so many things like there's a company called The Real Real, and if you have I had like a ring and some bracelets that were given to me when I was 12 that I never wore. And so I took them to The Real Real, and I ended up, making several $1,000s from stuff that was just sitting in drawers. And you can buy things at discount there, and you can sell things. And there's other places like Poshmark, there's ThreadUp, there's all kinds of places. So, and I have all kinds of other opportunities in the book for places to go, things to do, things to see, and for having a good time while not spending a lot of money.
Tell us the next time and where will you be out selling that book?
Actually, I'm going to be at an event at the Lux Hotel on February 22nd.
Okay.
And I'll probably be doing a one-woman show at the Santa Monica Playhouse based on how to live like a millionaire when you're a million short. And they can contact me on Facebook or through my website, howtolivelikeamillionaire.com.
All right. May I have your right hand, please? Here's $1. It's a trademark of mine for good luck.
Oh, thank you.
Good luck with selling this book.
Oh, thank you so much.
And of course, Marilyn.
Oh, these are beautiful. Thank you so much, Ron. I will put them in a vase and enjoy them.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming here again. Special thanks to our sponsors, Harvey Brandman, Photography is an Art, Ron Irwin's Haiku, Style, Passion, Heart, Larry Buford's Books of the Future, Time Travel, Message in a Capsule, State Farm Agent Carla Green, and Rob Brownstein's Actor Training School and Actors Space. Much thanks to our guest today, actor Armin Shimerman and writer-actress Marilyn Anderson. And of course, special thanks to our ever-growing audience. We say be well, and we'll see you next time.